It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. I am Gary McNamara, and yes, he is Eric Harley. Hello. Good to have you back.
Welcome back, Gary. Oh, wait. No, I was gone. Yeah.
See, it's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You know, when it's not the same. When you're here, you know, when I'm on alone, it's sort of more work.
Yeah.
When you're here, it's like an event.
Yeah, we're having fun.
It's like an event. It's like I'm doing something. I'm visiting.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like I'm getting out of the house.
Right. No, that's it for me. That's that's what my wife said to me earlier today. She said, look, why don't you just get out of the house? Go to work tonight or something.
Get the hell out.
Get out.
God, I don't care.
Get out.
Die over there.
Yeah. Just
just
stop it with your coughing. What is that? Knock it off. No, she didn't say that. I actually did joke with her because I'd been coughing, with this whatever upper respiratory thing, and then she sneezed one time, and I said, "Knock it off." I love her. She's the greatest. But I did notice this tonight when I came in. I parked two spaces. I put two parking spaces between my truck and your truck, and I thought, that's not necessary, Eric. It doesn't work that way. I don't have to worry about it because we're going to be sitting in the same studio here in a few minutes. But, I thank you to pretty much nobody who reached out to me during the no, I'm just joking. Everybody. Thanks a lot, people. Thanks for caring. No, thank you for all the get well soons. Here's what I noticed. The seasons are late here in North Texas as they are in some parts of the country. And I normally get this sometime in October. So I'm getting it now, it hit Thursday night into Friday morning. Man, Friday morning, Black Friday for me, there was not going to be any shopping except for NyQuil. By the way, here's what I can say about NyQuil. Wow. I had not taken NyQuil in quite some time. I got mine from Tommy Chong. I don't know where you guys get yours, but
cannabis-infused NyQuil.
I ordered mine. Well, he doesn't call it NyQuil. He calls it Weekend Quill. There's DayQuil, NyQuil. He calls
Quill.
Weekend Quill.
You're
it comes
out.
with a strobe light and one of the Cheech and Chong albums. But the NyQuil, I was trying to remember the last time I took it. I'm serious, probably over 20 years ago. Because I never really, the thing is, when you have kids around, when you have grandkids, I'm always of the mindset that I may have to jump in the car. I don't want something that can knock me out. If I'm, the adult at the house, which is rare, I then, want to make sure that I'm not knocked out completely. I may have to drive. And so I just kind of moved away from the stuff that completely knocks you out, And so I only took a half a dosage. But I woke up around an hour and a half in going, all right, I think I'm going to write a movie script. I mean, I thought to myself, man, why didn't Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas move to ban this? Because it's green and wow. No, I had not taken heavy medication like that in a long time.
Do you remember I remember the 2.5 Men where Charlie was like pouring whiskey into his NyQuil.
Oh, the thing is, I used to, this is what would settle it. Maybe this is why I quit the NyQuil. One shot of straight rum would warms your chest. Just one. Don't go crazy. Just one shot of straight rum. And that was, years ago. I don't drink anymore, but it used to do the trick. It would coat the throat. It's alcohol. I'm guessing it did something good for me. Sure made me feel a little better for a few minutes. But it would make my chest warm, and I used to do that. But I don't really get into the stuff that knocks you out completely. And that was the first time I had ventured back into NyQuil land, and I only took a half dosage. I'm a lightweight. I'm a total lightweight, but I'm back. I got some of the good cough medicine, some of the kind you make the meth with, and I'm not going to be doing that tonight, to be clear. I have no interest in doing that because, number one, it's illegal, and number two, I heard crime doesn't pay. But I didn't even know they made it. A family member said, you need to get the real, cough medicine that you can get. It's not prescription, but they still keep it behind the counter. And the reason is because people actually do make meth with it. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. I heard this comedian, a stand-up comedian, who said a few years ago, he said, the flu season is so bad. The other day, I saw a guy in a meth lab turning the meth back into cold medicine.
Well, it reminded me of the story I saw yesterday. I saw the headline, heavy drinkers cut alcohol use by nearly 30% after they try this. And I went, wow, what could possibly, and it was like,
what could it be?
Massive amounts of pot.
I was going to say it has to be weed.
That's
right?
what it is, right?
Yeah.
Then they said,
right.
That if you're a real heavy drinker, and this was, the controlled lab experiment, they said, nothing's really uniform per person.
Right.
But when and it's like, well, yeah, because you're high.
Right.
And then I thought to myself, okay, you may cut back on alcohol, but your caloric intake goes up 9,000%. That's the problem.
I'm going to tell you right now, I've been on Willie Nelson's bus when I think his driver used to cook him breakfast back then when I got on his bus. He was cooking him bacon and eggs. And we had done an appearance together, and he invited me on the bus. I did not partake, although
you said
someone before.
When you started that sentence, you said,
yeah.
And we had done done a what?
What? Yeah.
An appearance.
An appearance together.
Like, this is going to be real news here.
Well, and I get on there, and then country music legend Ray Price is sitting there, too. And I'm like, Willie, why are you hiding Ray Price from me? What is this? But I think of Willie because of the smell coming from the bus, but also the fact that he loved his bacon and eggs a lot and had a lot of snacks around, probably for the road crew. I'm guessing. Just the other day, Texas DPS pulled over a large bale of marijuana and found a Willie Nelson tour bus inside. That was breaking news the other day. But when I see those things, Willie did a duet. I forget who the other artist is. You have to forgive me. And it's a song called California Sober. And it's basically, I don't drink these days, but I do smoke weed. I mean, they're not saying they smoke weed, but they smoke weed. That's pretty much what they call California Sober.
Yeah. So
they're doing the whatever. You can't say smoke weed anymore because that doesn't apply anymore.
That's a great point.
It's I indulge in THC or whatever it's going to be. And so
I'm experimenting with THC.
Yeah, I'm experimenting. I have a lab coat.
Right. It's like
I have a petri dish.
I always love that term. I experimented with drugs when I was in college.
Yeah, I experimented.
Really? So you did some drugs, and then what?
Right.
You took your blood work and you examined it with the doctor to see what it was actually doing?
Yeah. You know what else would
then honesty came along when they said recreational drug use.
Yeah.
Yes. Experimenting.
Right. Yeah. I smoked it, but I didn't inhale it. I smoked it, but I didn't inhale it. Right. And that's when I was in college, I experimented. Another great place in college to experiment? In the lab where you're trying to make a grade. Science class. Maybe you should do some experiments there. But the California Sober thing is always interesting to me. And when you see, and I saw something because I saw this thing on Tito Beverage. He's the guy that founded Tito's Vodka.
Oh, yeah, in Texas here, right?
Yeah. And, yes, his last name is Beverage, spelt differently, but pronounced the same. But you got to go into the business, don't you? Doing gangbusters. Just bought a small independent tequila company, right? But the article was basically, the brunt of the article was, while all the other liquor companies aren't doing great because people have slowed down on drinking, and I thought, yeah, why is that? Weed, they're doing great. Tito's is doing great, and then I guess this tequila company that they bought is also doing great because they kind of kept the, I don't know if they call it small batch or what, the small company kind of feel, independent feel to it. But I've seen those trends in story after story where younger people are not drinking as much and people are cutting back on their drinking, and then it's like, all right, yeah, but what are they doing? Our obsession with getting high, if you want to call it obsession, I don't think that's the proper word. It probably doesn't apply here, but our insistence on getting high is not going away, so it's being replaced with THC products or microdosing. Is that still a thing? You know, with the hallucinogenics?
With acid?
I mean, because it's not legal anywhere, right?
No. I think I told you when I was back, not this time, but when I was back 2 times ago in New York.
Yeah.
And went into the place, great restaurant right around the corner from my father's house. They got a bar there. And I mean, when I walked in, they've got, these couple of people there, and, it's samples of something. It's samples of a cocktail.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, what are you selling here? And they said, well, this is this new cocktail that we have here. Well, what is it, malt? Or he goes, no, THC. And they sell it in the bar.
Wow.
They're selling THC drinks in the bar.
Wow.
And so you can sit there and you can have a beer in one hand and THC liquid in the other hand.
Jim Gaffigan has a new stand-up special on YouTube. And it's sponsored by I guess it's sponsored by a bourbon company, and the entire thing is about drinking. The entire 45-minute special is about drinking, and he goes on and on and on. He talks about samples at liquor stores, where they just give out the samples. So you've seen that. You go in a liquor store and they're our new whatever flavored whatever, and they have, and I never do that because I'm always driving. But he says, that's the only place, he's just going, I'll just take a few sips. And no, officer, I just did some sampling. I haven't been drinking. I just sampling.
I was doing just some of the small bottles.
Yeah.
I was doing the airplane bottles.
Right.
57 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm glad that you cleared up that, you're off all the illicit drugs and on something that is legal, like NyQuil.
Well, I only took the 1/2 dosage, and it scared me. I got to be honest with you.
Did it really?
I'm a little spooked by it. I just thought, because I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of it wasn't. I'll be honest with you. It didn't. I was fine, and I'm sure I would have been. I took a 1/2 dosage. I didn't, and it wasn't. It was the store brand version. It wasn't even NyQuil. It was,
the generic.
Yeah, and and you don't want to get behind the wheel of anything if you're going to take any of that anyway.
I will say that if I ever need that, I mostly take the day stuff. But
yes,
if I'm ever and I hardly, as I told you, it was 6 months ago when I was at the doctor and I got my blood work and I looked and there's like, what's this? Why is this low?
Yeah,
and it was one of the white blood cell counts. There's like 6 different ones.
Right.
And this one was low. And so I'm like, oh, my gosh, my white blood cell count down.
Yeah.
And I went in, and my doctor comes in, you've lost another 2 pounds. You're doing great. I don't care about that. What about my white blood cell count? What about this thing here?
Right.
He goes, what do you think you have, leukemia? I go, I don't know. You're the doctor.
Right.
He said, when was the last time you were sick, like really sick, like had a virus or something? I went, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe? He goes, that's it.
Yeah.
He goes, this is nothing. This is...
Right.
Because, and you you look at your blood work, you see the high and low, and it's like the doctor goes, well, yeah, it's, I forgot what's the one thing that I have. I forgot which my blood work, which is like a little bit high. And I'm like, yeah, but it says over 90 is high, and I'm at 150.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but you're only in trouble if it's over 4,000.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well then your averages are just to be looking at this may, just watch it, just watch this and see where this, goes. And it's all a part of, because I know what it is. It's a protein leakage.
Right. Okay.
That out of your kidneys,
Right.
which again is something that happens if you have type 2 diabetes. So it's a little higher if you have it, even if it's under control. And it slowly gets worse, like type 2 diabetes does. It's progressive over a period of time. And what you try to do is you try to keep it, you try to control it, which is why I always say I'm a type 2 diabetic under control.
Right. Yeah.
Which, so as the doctor said, you're going to die from type 2 diabetes, but if you keep it up, you'll be 120 when you do.
Right.
And I told him I can live with that.
Right.
But you just watch the protein leakage, and it went up a little bit one time to like 250, then it went back down to 150 again. So you can control it with, exercise and everything else that you do.
My
diet.
white blood count is always high because I always have a ton of like inflammation going on, and I have it's always running high. But aside from that, everything, I go in every 3 months. I was going in every month, and they told me stop it. So they said, we don't want you here. So, no, I go in every 3 or 4 months because I want to stay on top of everything.
Well, it's really interesting because somebody told me the other day, they go, it's, really, it's really cool that you go in and you know what your blood work is and you understand all of it.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
And I went, well, yeah, because I'm the kind of person, I'd rather have bad news than not know.
Yeah, WebMD, I think, has banned me for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't read my own charts.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller. When driving, you need to manage the space around your vehicle so that there's enough space to allow you to adjust when traffic conditions change. The space ahead of your vehicle is the most important. One rule of thumb is to allow at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, add an additional second. It's impossible to keep other drivers from tailgating you, but there are some things you can do to make it safer, such as increasing your following distance, avoiding quick lane changes, and slowing down. There are also several things you should do to ensure that there is plenty of space between the side of your vehicle and other vehicles. Don't hug the center line, and avoid traveling alongside other vehicles in strong winds. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, Matt Van Epps won in Tennessee 7.
All right.
In the House special election yesterday. That was the seat that was held by Mark Green.
Yeah.
And Van Epps against the absolutely insane Democrat.
The AOC of Tennessee, they call her, Aftyn Behn.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I don't know. AOC might be viewed as being moderate.
Yeah. At some point she will be.
Bain has said, but
the way it's going.
It was 8.8 points last I saw. Remember, Mark Green won his last election by 20 points.
20? Mm-hmm.
Trump won the district by 22 in 2024.
Yep.
35 in 2020. 39 in 2016.
Yeah.
And
there's never any reason in the deep red district to get a margin that is below 2 digits. I just don't. Again, look, I went back and reviewed some of Aftyn Behn's ads. The ads don't tell you the whole story, though. She did run, logistically, she ran a fairly solid campaign, but as you mentioned, she's off the charts. Bat soup, and makes AOC in some ways look like a moderate. So, but she still got 45% of the vote.
All right. Maybe we're going a little bit too far, saying she makes AOC look like a moderate.
Okay, all right. Maybe,
that may be a little
bit. That could be the
of
cold medicine talk.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. And Eric, welcome back. We're glad to have you. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. Like I said, when you're here, it's an event. It's like I'm going out.
We're having fun here.
It's like I'm doing something. It sort of reminds me of when George Costanza said, "Look, can I watch Home Alone at your house, Jerry?" And Jerry said, "Why?" He goes, "Because it feels like I'm going out and doing something.
Exactly.
I'm not just sitting at home."
Right, yeah.
But here's Matt Van Epps yesterday after his victory in Tennessee 7.
The military taught me what it means to be part of a team, to trust the person next to you, to stay mission-focused, and to never leave anyone behind. That's the same spirit I'll take to Washington, because this campaign has never been about one person. It's about we, the people. I've heard your stories, and I will be your fighter.
There you go.
All right.
Let's up the excitement level a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you won.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, we've always said it's tough for us sitting in Texas.
Right. Yeah.
If there's a race in Texas, you have a much better idea. Even looking at some of the commercials that were done, you don't know the frequency, you don't know when they were played, you don't know what audience was hit by it. It's very tough when you don't live in a particular state.
Plus, in Texas, we still have duels. People don't know that, but we do. So they use dart guns. But they still have duels. But, yeah, we've talked about that. You can't monitor especially in all these districts, you're not, even the Senate races. Some rise to the top. They make national news. This one did. It was a special election, so it stood out.
Fewer people vote. If there's a lot of excitement from Democrats, that, as we all know, that can increase it. For example, You don't get exposed to how the local TV stations, for example, are carrying, are carrying whether it's press conferences or visits. They'll be there today. The candidate visited
town hall debates,
debates, and so it's very tough. But and it's good that the Republicans won, especially in a special election, no matter where it is right now, because it makes it 220 to 213 in the House of Representatives. But you have, and we've talked about it. Affordability after the early November elections that were held, Virginia, New Jersey, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Ramaswamy came out and said affordability, and all of a sudden everybody is focused on affordability,
right? Yeah,
and that's still a key factor as we go into 2026. I did see though, my gas station was still at $2.52, which is again lower than when Trump took office in January. But on the way here, right off the tollway as I approached 635, $2.29.
Yeah, my wife said something yesterday. She paid $2.30, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't even check yet.
Yeah,
because I didn't even check what's the reason for the drastic drop.
Well, I know oil has dropped because demand is low right now, and I think we're just in that lull between Thanksgiving travel and Christmas travel, and I don't know how much of that is also part of the economy or anything else going on. But I think right now it's just one of those lulls where the kids get back in school up until whatever time they go to on their Christmas break. I'm sorry, winter solstice break. And then, the driving season for that part of the year kicks off.
And it's interesting because politically right now you look at this and you say, can you extrapolate it out what will happen next November?
Yeah.
You're always, you do what we've always said, and that is you always run as if you're 20 points behind.
Exactly.
And I mean, as a party,
yes,
even if you're winning on a number of particular issues.
Right.
And, last week the Republicans and the president was out there saying, wait a minute, I haven't lost my base. Look at this, 51 or whatever it was.
Right, yeah.
I forgot, how much of his base still supports him, 80-something, and much better than this and much better than that. Well, yeah, but you have to understand when you talk to people in your own base, there is no other choice.
Right.
Your base is not going to vote, was not going to vote for Biden or Harris. Your base is not going to vote. Your base is not going to vote for an AOC.
Right. Yeah.
Independents will. I was reading National Review today. Well, it just popped into my mind where it said the problem with the Republicans is Democrats.
No, I saw that. And
did you see that? Not Democrats that oppose, but Democrats that have joined the Republican Party.
Right.
The populists out there, the independents out there that lean Democrat.
Yes.
That are like, well, we expect Trump to take care of us.
Right.
That's part of your concern. But when you look at it, again, your base is not happy with affordability.
Right.
They may be happy with everything else, and they're still going to say, no, I support him, I favor him. But you've got problems, the Republican Party does, with affordability right now. There's also problems with the base when it comes to with his not a huge demographic, but a loud demographic with foreign policy.
Yeah.
I saw this yesterday and I went, his base isn't going to be happy to hear this. And this is, let me just find it here with, it was the Marco Rubio thing. Here it is. Yeah, okay. This is on foreign aid. Remember, a significant portion of the president's base wants foreign aid gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want foreign aid gone completely.
Right. Yep.
And we said it's not going to be gone.
Nope.
Because you use foreign aid in order to influence countries to be more cooperative with you and agree with you.
Right.
And it's exactly what Marco Rubio said yesterday. Here we go. Let me play this here. Here it is.
The president views the last 40 years as an era of which American workers and American farmers have been ripped off. They've been ripped off, and what he's saying is we want to have a trade with the world, but it has to be a trade in which American businesses and American workers and the products they make and what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. On issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money. This is taxpayer money. When the president has said is we're going to do foreign aid, but we're going to do foreign aid for countries that are aligned with the United States and in a way that doesn't waste the taxpayers' money.
So foreign aid isn't going away.
No.
And there's a part of the base of Trump that doesn't like to hear that. Because remember, in all the polling that's been done, the only thing that the majority of Americans agree with to cut in the budget is foreign aid.
That's
it.
You and I, if we were just sitting around and we were going to have to make a solid bet on something, and the question were, where do you think most Americans would start on cutting the budget? You and I would lay our dollar down on foreign aid on that wheel every time, because we've heard it. We've heard it every time. And when you talk about polls, I think of the man on the street poll Wall Street Journal did the day after the 2016 election in Harlem, where they asked respondents, why do you think Trump won and Hillary lost? Because Trump was talking about things here at home, and she was talking about things everywhere else in the world. And that base, and we can tie in that National Review article there, with some of those that came over and voted for Trump, whether it was in 2016 or 24 or whenever, that are supporting him now, they expect certain things in that regard. That populist base, whether they're former Democrats or might be Democrats again, whether they're independents or wherever they are, the problem is that if you build that populist mentality out, you're going to have to satisfy that base, and it's really hard when he's over here with the left hand doing peace deals, well, all but Russia and Ukraine, apparently. And with the right hand, again, you're trying to balance that with foreign aid, because foreign aid is going to be a part of making those peace deals and keeping that peace and also growing the economy going forward. That's the plan. I'm not saying it's going to work that way. I'm saying that's what the design is, and that's what the intent is, that you have a more stable situation around the world geopolitically, and that favors the global economy, which in turn favors, of course, the U.S. economy.
And then over the last week when I was gone and everything else, chatted with probably 5 or 6 people that I know that were absolute 100% MAGA.
Yeah.
And this was after Trump dropped tariffs on 200 different products.
Right.
And they all acknowledged. They know it. These people, these are conservatives.
Right.
They've always looked at it and go, I don't know about the tariffs. Or when he dropped it, they said, okay, there's a recognition, from the administration that tariffs increase prices.
Right.
And tariffs are on American companies, and they pass some of that along to the consumer. Well, the president yesterday in the meeting was just going, it's not delusional because they know what tariffs do.
Right.
In my opinion,
those exemptions show that.
But in my opinion, this is a part of Trump that's liberal, where he believes the people that are loyal supporters to him are complete and total idiots and morons, just like the Democrats do. Because he was on it again yesterday, that the income tax is going to be replaced by tariffs. Their income tax, that's, if you hear that outright and you know the numbers and how the numbers match up and where you're going to go, you would say that's delusional. It's not delusional because they know absolutely. They know because they lowered the tariffs. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, we're going to tax the foreign countries with the tariffs and everything else after he just lowered it. Well, Mr. President, conservatives that are loyal to you aren't idiots.
No.
They're not stupid. Yeah. Don't treat them as if they're idiots. They know. Anybody who pays any attention knows that tariffs are not going to replace the income tax in the United States.
Not going to happen.
And you know why? Because tariffs are probably maxed out as far as they're going to go, even if the Supreme Court says the president
can do it.
Can do it.
Yeah.
They're basically maxed out at this point.
They found their Laffer curve on tariffs.
Right. Otherwise, they'd be higher.
Right.
And so the president is treating, on one hand, the populist base.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically just saying, oh, these things that you wanted, nope. That's going to erode. And conservatives, after the president lowered the tariffs, and then took credit. This president really cares about you. Look how he's lowered these tariffs so the prices go down. And then, so you don't have to pay it. And then right out, a couple of seconds later, there he is saying, the foreign countries are going to pay it. You won't have to pay the taxes. The foreign countries will pay it. I asked every one of my conservative friends, absolutely the most loyal Trump supporters, since 2016. And they just went, oh, God, it's just really bad. It's just really bad. I can't believe he's still doing this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the play is here politically, because everything ended for me. The debate was over with those 200 plus exemptions. When you promote that as relief to bring prices down, that's your capitulation right there. And yes, I just said capitulation, and it wasn't the Sudafed talking. Never used that word before in my entire talk radio career. But that's him. That's the administration saying, we got to do something. And it was just days after everybody in the GOP was saying affordability, affordability, led by Ramaswamy. And that short video and an idea he stole from Red Eye Radio. At least that's our claim in the lawsuit.
Well, again, so people support because they look at it, everything's a binary. Of course I still support Trump.
Of course
I support Trump.
All day. If he could run for a third term, yeah.
What's the other option?
Right. Exactly.
So, of course, they support it, but it's where is your support eroding?
Yeah.
And those are just a few examples.
And you need your party to get you through the second half of your second term.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. But the 220 to 213 is at least that's good. That's 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's at least 7 in Congress with Van Epps' win in Tennessee yesterday.
Yeah.
But she was just the stuff she said in the past. It's like, my God. I mean, what are the candidates? And it's way too early. We always view it, as we've said before, as if you always think you're down by 20 points.
Always run your campaign
like
you're 20 points, at least 20 points behind.
We don't know what's going to happen next year,
right?
But the Democrat candidates don't seem to be getting any better.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
As always, Eric is back, and that's great.
Yeah.
So just a couple of more points when we talk about where the Republican Party is, and this is after the Tennessee a special election yesterday, where Van Epps won by 8 point. Last I saw was 8.8.
Right. Yeah.
And you look at the erosion in that particular district, and you say, is that a sign for next year, or should it be a concern? We say it should always be a concern. Every election should be a concern, because you should look as if you're down 20 points. But when we talk about the president, and he was before Thanksgiving talking about, see, my approval is still great, and it is, because people still look at it and they go, well, God, good gosh, I voted for you 3 times, and what's the option? What's the option?
Yeah.
Tim Walz. One of the funniest things was was that the group of employees that work for the government in Minnesota.
Yeah.
That has been so loud and saying, Walz knew about this all the time. They knew about it. They knew about it.
Right.
They hit it.
Yes.
So all these investigations are going on. And they said, and we actually went and emailed Harris and said, don't you realize you're hiring somebody incompetent? And the best part was when someone said, you're telling Harris
that she's hiring somebody who's incompetent.
She's hiring somebody that was incompetent. That was hilarious. But because of all that going on right now, that makes even when the president about 10 days ago in that basically debate back and forth with Laura Ingraham.
Yeah.
No, we've got to bring in people. There are jobs that Americans aren't prepared to do. Mm-hmm. And she goes, yes, they are. I goes, no, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not. And we're like, not a good look for one of the portions of the demographics that supported Trump.
Right. Yeah.
And we've said it before. America is not ready for more legal immigration, and this even sort of with maybe a demographic or two that voted for the president. They're looking at everything with Minnesota going, Mr. President, see, this is why we can't even have legal immigration.
Yeah.
We've got too much legal immigration. We got to start over again, so we can't be bringing these people in. But the president actually has a point. Because if it's true, and I believe the president has used part of this as defense, that the Ford CEO said, what was it, last week? What do they have? Is it 5,000 or 4,000? 4,000 or 5,000 mechanic openings that start at 120,000. They can't fill them.
Right.
And that's not something that, well, if you offer 175, there isn't anybody.
No, because you can't.
Right.
You can't make up the mismatch in the training and experience.
Well,
in terms of what's out there in the pool.
There probably is no mechanic out there that's sitting there saying, I won't work for 120,000. I'm going to wait till it's 170. I'm going to stay at my other job.
Right.
And eventually, because of the population or lack of population growth in modern Western societies, you're going to need people.
Yeah.
Just like you need raw materials, you need people.
Yep.
And you're going to need very highly educated people. Oh, I did see the one bit of good news. And we mentioned it the other day when you were gone. 63% now of people believe that the return on investment of a college degree is not there. And it was 33.
That's almost half, and I didn't even go to college.
It was
63%.
It was 33% just a decade ago. It's doubled in the people that don't believe that there's a return on the investment.
And I think that's it. I think you look at the marketplace because we know, our audience knows these institutions, all of these colleges, these elite campuses, pretended to be something that they're not. And for years, well, a Harvard grad will go on to, and then, well, what about all the other schools, and what about the agendas on these campuses? And, hey, I've got a question. What about learning something? And that, when I think the left, as more and more of these high-profile protests came out and just went bonkers over the last several years, they set the tone to where families, the prospective student who was still in high school, and mom and dad and everybody in that decision-making process, we're all looking and asking questions. Well, wait a minute. Where is it that I want to be? What do I want to do? What's going to happen with me coming out of school? I know with some of my family members in that age group now that are 3 of whom are in college right now, grandchildren. They're looking at this and they're saying, okay, I've got to, I really need to focus on what I think is going to be my career, what my field is going to be, what I would like to do so I could get not just the schooling but the training. And I think this is what you've seen, and this is why you're seeing this 63% saying the ROI just isn't there. Because if you go out there, mechanics, if you're ASE certified right now, my gosh, name the place you want to work.
Yeah. And so, but that isn't like, for example, I don't know, some other business that a Starbucks barista, since you've got Mandani and Bernie Sanders out protesting as if, this is how foolish they are if they actually believe that is what's going to revive the union movement.
Yeah.
They're out of their freaking minds. Right. I mean, it's hilarious to watch this all go on. We're bringing back labor. No, you're not doing a damn thing.
It's a revolving door. It's fast food.
Right. It's a revolving door. That's not, it's not something that you stay at your entire life. And so, they can sit there and pretend it, but it's ridiculous. But when you look at something like that, there aren't people that are sitting there saying, you may jump if you're a mechanic to something else, but if Ford's saying, and it's true, they need 4,000 mechanics and they can't find them, it's not because they're not offering enough money.
No.
That's not
you
it.
got to have the skills and experience. You can't just walk into that job.
Right. Just raise the salary and you'll find you'll find the people.
No.
You might in unskilled labor out there, but
entry level, anything that allows that entry level training or on the job training. But again, we're talking about highly sophisticated jobs now. I mean, manufacturing in general, but these mechanics. And you have to have more than a diesel mechanic. You have to have ongoing training. There has to be, it's not just working with a wrench. You've got to know that too.
Right.
So it's a hybrid type of career field.
So with the the president is saying that, and then everything happening in Minnesota, it wasn't a good look. Him arguing with Laura Ingraham on it, because there is a certain number, even though the president has been completely misunderstood by some of the most loyal MAGA people out there.
Mm-hmm.
He has always believed that we need, if the economy grows, to bring in people because we don't have the birth rate here. And there is a huge need right now for technical things that's going to take the United States a while to get there. And if a significant number of people are still living in the world of the pathology of dependency, they have no interest in working at a job that's $120,000 where they get their hands dirty.
Right.
And that's why
you're working in a bay all day.
Right. When you look at all the things that are provided to people out there, many conservatives say you got to let those go.
Right.
Because the only way that some people will work. Remember, there are people that would rather live on minimal sustenance, which in this day and age is not bad. Because as Stossels did 20 years ago, looking at poverty, and he continues to do it, saying poverty is not what poverty used to be.
Right.
You got air conditioning, you got modern TV.
Yeah.
You can be a gamer, you can do all these different things. And, poverty is not what poverty used to be at all in this country. But if you provide all these things to people, there are many people that would rather do nothing and have minimum sustenance than actually have a job that they have to work hard at that pays them six figures.
We've been talking about that. Not all of it is generational, but nothing applies to all. But some of it is generational, where I don't want the responsibility. Why put in all of that effort? When you go back to the 1970s, 1790s, when you go back to the 1970s and 80s, when you and I were coming up, man, the living in a small town, having like 3 or 4 manufacturers on the edge of town, that was the job to have. Because back then, it was still part of the era where you go to work there, you work these cool shifts where it's 4 days on, 4 days off. You get overtime, but you're working your butt off. And that's gone. When manufacturing went away, a lot of that mentality went away. Then people wanted to go to college and not get anything that's going to work for them. Now that's over. They don't want to go to college. They don't see the return on investment there, but they also don't see the return on investment in going to a mechanic school or doing the hard work, because to them, $125,000, no, I can do okay on my own and really not have to work that hard, if at all.
But that is also the president. That was also a problem looking at where the Republican Party is. That's led by Trump. The Republican Party still is Trump. The other thing is, yesterday, the pardoning of the Honduran president couldn't come at a worse time.
It was horrible timing.
Couldn't come
horrible
at an
timing.
absolute worst. So you got Republicans
Horrible
going,
timing.
what the hell's going on? And then Trump's, basically saying this was a Biden horrible witch hunt. And Republicans are going, what the hell are you talking about? This guy was absolutely involved in drug running. I read it the other day. There was a article that was about why. Because if you noticed, nobody in the Democrats is saying that blowing up the drug boats in itself is an illegal act.
Right.
Not even Democrats.
Right.
In fact, when the 5 came out and said what they said that, the troops don't follow illegal orders, a lot of people are saying, okay, they're referring to that. And every one of them said, we're not referring to that.
Right.
And what you found out is the fact that Congress has been briefed on why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And what they believe is happening is they have tied, Maduro, I almost said Moderna, that it's not that the cartels exist in his country,
right,
and he can't confront them, maybe like has been the case in Mexico.
Right.
It's the fact that they're actively involved in it. And with that money that Venezuela is making off the drug cartels, they have been, and there's a history of giving them to terrorist organizations to fight against the United States.
Right.
And so that's actually the justification, and that's why, after Democrats have been briefed on it, nobody has said that that is illegal for the president to do. So in this case, when you've got was it Hernandez, I guess, that was again all involved in in the
Trafficking.
the trafficking and everything else with the the Honduran president with the cartel there, for Trump to make that decision and just say, well, that was a Biden horrible witch hunt. And Republicans are saying, you need to explain it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean it was
You
a
didn't even try to make the case.
You didn't even try to make the case. You just threw it off. It was a Biden thing, whatever.
Right.
And it wasn't.
Right.
Nobody else except the president is stating that this guy wasn't absolutely guilty of, using his position as president of Honduras to run drugs.
Right. Yeah.
$10 billion worth of drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, and so this is where the president makes no sense. It's the same thing with tariffs. On one hand, he's saying, okay, prices are too expensive because the people are paying them, and so we've got to lower prices so tariffs go down. And then a day later saying, these doggone foreign countries are going to pay it. Mr. President, your base is not stupid.
You're taking out drug runners, and you're also pardoning drug runners.
Right. It doesn't make it does.
Timing couldn't be worse.
These are the things that people go, oh,
and justification, zero justification. You didn't make your case at all.
You didn't. No, horrible. Absolutely horrible. Indefensible.
Yeah, really is.
Because if you do something like that, you better be specific and say, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened.
You make your case before you do it.
Especially when you're trying to get the public to approve and hopefully someday understand, because Hegseth has been horrible in this. When he first came out with his explanation, he was horrible.
Yeah.
On it.
On the drug runner thing?
Right. Yeah. But when you actually look at it, it's actually been people in the media that have said, here's what's probably going on. And like, well, at least somebody's explaining it.
Right.
And when they explain it, it makes sense. Communicate the message. But you can't be blowing up drug boats and then say, the former Honduran president who was involved in drug running, $10 billion worth of cocaine into the United States and everything else. Nobody, there isn't like a group saying, free Hernandez.
Right, yeah, well, that's
it
what
doesn't
I was looking
exist.
for. I was like, who are you trying to appease?
And
who are you trying to appease?
And this
the
is
anti-Bidens? You don't need to.
Right.
You did that by winning. I didn't get it at all.
No. But these are the things that slowly whittle away at your credibility when you're a lame duck. You can't be elected again.
Right.
And so people are like, well, what are you doing?
Right.
So it makes sense. Explain it to me.
And your party needs to be strong in the midterm.
Yep. We are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
More stormy weather is expected to travel cross-country later this week. Yet USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says unlike systems over the past week that led to several inches of snow in the Midwest and freezing cold,
this one is actually going to take a pretty deep dive into the south before heading eastward. And what that means is that we're just looking at generally very cold and dry conditions for much of the Midwest.
While the south should receive 2 to 4 inch rain totals this week.
Where we do have some interaction between the cold air to the north and that moisture, there could be a narrow band of some snow extending across the northern edge of that precipitation shield.
With snow potential in the mid-Atlantic region Friday.
But I think the bigger story this week is going to be the frigid, bitter cold conditions across much of the Midwest into the Northeast.
With expected sub-zero temperatures in much of the Midwest Wednesday. I'm Ron Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. So after the election last night, that's where we believe everything stands right now. For the Democratic Party, I mean, it's just bat soup crazy is what it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing here. The one thing is, and this is what's always important, is the Republican Party, for the most part, is driven by issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Trump won because people agreed with him on the issues.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't just because he had, because he was a rock star.
Right.
He didn't get there because of his celebrity.
Right. And I think we said that. We started to notice everything really started to settle in for the 24 election season. Right around mid-January into February, it was like, okay, it's the issues. And this is where he's, winning. And that's where he won ultimately in November of 24.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. This was my favorite thing that Trump said yesterday.
Okay.
You ready for this?
All right. What do you got?
This is about him, the whole focus on him being sick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this has been hilarious the last couple of days. And as I talked about on the air last night, I said, when you were gone, I went, there's like this manic obsession that, anything goes, what was in the
MRI.
the MRI? What was there?
Yeah.
No, nothing. It was all fine. It was all fine.
Okay.
It's that kind of manic obsession.
Right.
Or passion with it, and it's like, where were you with Biden? But here's Trump on that yesterday.
But you always find something new, like, is he in good health? Biden was great, but is Trump in good health? I sit here, I do 4 news conferences a day. I ask questions from very intelligent lunatics. I give the right answers. There's never a scandal. There's never a problem. I give you answers that solve your little problems. You go back and you can't find anything, but you do stories about Biden was in wonderful health. The guy didn't do a news conference for 8 months. If I go one day, I had one day where I didn't do a news conference, there's something wrong with the president.
Yeah, remember, what was it, like a month ago, where he didn't really take the days off. He just wasn't as visible. I don't remember if he was down at Mar-a-Lago or not. But the media just went bat-soup crazy over it. What's wrong? Is he not healthy? What's wrong? He's not young. Like, come on. Remember the New York Post story? They had it was a source story, but you have to believe it's true or accurate. It was a Biden White House insider that was watching President Trump basically commenting on his trip to the Middle East. So this is before the bombing of Iran.
Oh, yeah.
But talking about, oh, my gosh, it's incredible to see. Again, the source was a Biden White House insider.
Right.
Incredible to see a president with so much stamina. And it's unbelievable. I get a little head cold. I've got to be out for a week. I don't even know if he gets sick.
Yeah, but it's again the problem that the Democrats had during the Biden term. It's self-evident that Trump is not a Biden to the American people.
Right.
We all know he's getting up there in age, right?
Yeah.
And everything else.
Right.
And but you see the chip in he had at the golf tournament? Or not a golf tournament. The one apparently we were playing with Wayne Gretzky, and now Canada has disowned Wayne Gretzky for playing golf with Trump.
Right.
But he chipped in the ball.
Yeah.
Or it looked like from the fringe. But he plays golf. He can turn, in order to hit the ball the way he does, you got to be able to turn his body. Wow, I'm able to get golfing. I'm able to get legitimately
way to work that in.
Some golf talk.
There you go. That was a little chip in of your own.
But seriously, to turn the body like that, to you've got to have to golf in your 70s is extremely hard. I know. Just turning 70, it does a job. You play 18 holes, and I work out like I'll tell you. I'm not bragging because he really doesn't work out at all. I work out 1,000 times more than Trump. I have to. He doesn't really work out. He's talked about that before.
Right.
He doesn't, I'm not.
It was Diet Cokes and cheeseburgers.
Yeah, he does.
That's your workout.
And as he said, his physical was perfect.
Yeah.
Not 99.99999. It was 100% perfect.
Right. That's the art of the deal that he made with his phlebotomist and his doctor.
Yeah, well, it's like any of us who get blood work taken regularly know that probably isn't the case, but he's healthy. He's very healthy
I'll
for
say
his
this
age.
again on the stamina thing.
Yeah.
It
He doesn't sleep.
kind of freaks me out a little bit.
He doesn't sleep.
I had someone tell me, a friend of mine who was a medical professional, and she mentioned him, Donald Trump, and this is years before he was president, and Martha Stewart. These are, and there are others, but these well-known people who sleep 3 hours a day. And boom, they're always cooking. They're always on point. They're always working. Their mind is always going. Probably Elon Musk. I don't know if Elon Musk sleeps even 3 hours. But the president has all kinds of stamina and energy. And for a guy his age, for as much has been thrown at him politically, I mean, he, relatively speaking in that way, hasn't flinched.
No.
That's pretty incredible.
But it was amazing on the airplane, the reporters. I mean, it's the manic way that they ask the questions.
Yeah.
You know, it's the but wait a minute. Yeah, you're am I right? It hasn't been released. Well, I'm releasing it to the public.
Yeah.
What about this and what about your health? You people, Biden lost his cognitive abilities and you pretended it didn't happen.
Right.
And it is true. You know, I decide not to do a press conference one day. You see me 4 times. If you see me 2, you're asking, how come it's only 2? Does he not have the energy anymore?
This is very much unlike him.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it doesn't affect that. The thing is, it reflects bad on them. You know, it was like, didn't Walz say that also? About, you know, the president's cognitive problems, you know, as he's trying to hide what's going on in Minnesota.
Yeah.
By the way, you can't hide it anymore.
Yeah, that's over. Give up that fight.
The blood is in the water.
Yep.
You're not going to stop that from moving forward. And where was here it is. It just reminded me of this article.
All right.
Jason Riley, Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
Can Minnesota's Somalis rise above the fraud scandal? And he goes on, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but he goes on to talk about, it goes, according to the New York Times, Minnesota's fraud scandal stood out even in the context of the rampant theft during the pandemic when Americans stole tens of billions through unemployment benefits, business loans, and other forms of aid. 59 people have been convicted so far, and most of them are of Somali descent. Of those charged in the cases involving alleged fraud against meals, housing, and autism programs, 78 of the 86 defendants are of Somali ancestry. Since the 1990s, when civil war broke out in the East African nation, Minnesota has welcomed tens of thousands of Somali refugees. Today, the state's Somali numbers around 80,000. The massive fraud was an open secret. Merrick Garland, who served as U.S. Attorney General under Joe Biden, called it the largest pandemic relief hustle in the nation. Democrat state officials also suspected wrongdoing, but didn't want to upset an important voting bloc or be accused of racism. A former state senator said the media does not want to put a light on this, and if you're a politician, it's a significant disadvantage for you to alienate the Somali community. If you don't win the Somali community, you can't win Minneapolis, and if you don't win Minneapolis, you can't win the state. In a follow-up article, Mr. Rufo wrote, and we talked about this last night, wrote that the critics on the left were accusing him and his co-author of racist reporting. Apparently, no one is supposed to notice that Minnesota's welfare fraud was heavily concentrated among people who are relatively new to the country and share an ethnic identity. A description of facts, Rufo wrote, should not be measured in racist or not racist, but rather in true or not true. And then he writes, Ahmad Samatar, an expert on Somali culture at Macalester College, told the Times that many Somali refugees were raised in a culture where stealing from the government was common and that a reckoning over the fraud was overdue. If it's also true that Somalis are hardly the first migrant groups to arrive in America with unwelcome cultural baggage. In the early 1900s, crime was so prevalent in New York's Jewish and Italian neighborhoods that a specialized detective force was established. Among the most expert of all the street thieves are the Hebrew boys under 16, the city's police commissioner wrote. 40% of the boys at the House of Refuge and 27% of those arraigned in the children's court are of that race. Chinese migrants who arrived in California in the mid-1800s during the gold rush earned a reputation for poor hygiene, prostitution, gambling, and other behavior that fanned anti-Chinese sentiment. Following the massive influx of Irish immigrants beginning around the same time, it was not hard to notice that cholera, tuberculosis, and alcoholism disproportionately plagued Irish communities. These weren't merely negative perceptions or ugly stereotypes, and fortunately, these groups were willing to face reality. The Chinese and Irish formed benevolent societies to help new arrivals assimilate. Jewish leaders in New York established the Bureau of Social Morals and worked with police to address the crime problem. According to historian Howard Sakar, by the 1920s, Jews and criminality ceased to be interchangeable terms in the public vernacular. In other words, cultures can adapt, but that will require confronting the problem rather than ignoring it or pretending that anyone who speaks out is acting in bad faith. And that's the point. The point is, the difference is liberals are encouraging new people coming into this country not to assimilate.
Yeah. Right.
You're not supposed to assimilate.
Right.
Assimilation into American society is a bad thing from liberalism.
Right.
They don't want to. In fact, what do they do in Minnesota? We're just going to ignore it's happening because we need their votes.
Yep.
So we're going to allow massive billions of dollars in fraud to happen in our state and let them get away with it. And if you dare to point out the problem, then you're a racist.
You're a racist. Yep. And that's the core of identity politics applied here. They can't help themselves. It doesn't matter.
All cultures are not equal.
No. And here's, again, if you come here, you should be expected to assimilate.
Right.
And follow the laws accordingly. Play by the rules. Otherwise, you can't be here. Period. You know, no one made a big deal on the left when Canada said the same thing. Canada was like, you're gonna have to assimilate to our values now. Yeah. Their values are vastly different.
And it was, what was it, like 90% of Canadians
yeah.
said if you don't come to this country
Right.
wanting to assimilate into Canadian values, you should not come here.
Right.
There wasn't a peep. We brought that up
We
on the show.
brought it up.
Yes.
And still do. But this is, again, you can't do that if you're on the left. No. Pretend it doesn't exist. Pretend these massive problems and dangers for not just the system failing, but also dangers for people and their safety in those communities, the law-abiding citizens and people that live there. Well, sorry, all that goes out the window with the left. They don't care. Talk to the other cities, the other blue cities, and they'll tell you the same.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
Here at Red Eye Radio, he's Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara, just chuckling here, reading from Scott Jennings. It's astonishing, frankly, that Democrats have the gall to push conspiracies about President Trump's health after the Biden cover-up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what is Jake Tapper saying about Trump's health? That's what I want to know.
Well, he'll have a book coming out.
Yeah, the day after the next
right,
election.
In November of 2029.
Right.
It's
yeah, it really is silly.
No, I mean 2028. I mean
it's or whenever the election is going to be held.
Exactly.
Trump's thinking about moving it. That's what we hear. But it's how frantic the left media is. But wait. I love the fact that they just get all worked up about it. Nobody's concerned about it because you're not seeing any signs of him slowing down.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.